let me introduce the Ismit model to you. I'm from a family of 6 girls and a boy, and when we get together we share the family stories that are unique to us and that shape who we are today. Between us we have 23 children and there are plenty of exciting stories shared. Sometimes if they're not quite spectacular enough, we can make them so. There's the niece who received a $35,000 academic scholarship, the niece who won top prize at Victoria University in English, the niece who left school at 15 and ended up in prison. The sisterhood prefer to call it finishing school. All stories are real, some of them actually happen, and all these stories happen to me. Now I have 3 kids. Their stories fit somewhere in the middle. My oldest son, he's 22 and he's at Otago University. During his first year, he too made it into a Victoria University publication. It was an article about burning couches. He made his TV debut on Renters in his 2nd year. It was an episode about their tree hut named Brenda. It was an OSH hazard. He finished his science degree in his 3rd year and is in his 2nd year of medicine. I tell you this because to explain that school suits him. It always has. He's got the 5 R's down pat: reading, writing, arithmetic, remembering and regurgitating. He is agreeable and he knows how to play the school game. Now 11 years later, I have my late lamb. In his first year, I asked him how school was going and he said, "It's not so dark anymore." The next year, on 3 different occasions and 1 weekend, his mates told me he was the naughtiest boy in the class. The year after that, his teacher told me that Harrison had told him to shut up. It was something about having to write a story. The same year, he was expected to record skip counting in his book. Yet he could tell you at the age of 4 how much it would cost his nanny if she gave all her grandchildren $3 or $5 or $10. It was obvious to him. The next year, his teacher thought children got more work done when they were silent. And last year, he was removed into a different classroom halfway through the year because he was disruptive. This year, a teacher told him and a friend off for not respecting school property. His friend hung his head. But Harrison, he eyeballed the teacher and said, "It's just 4 fucking flowers." School does not suit him. He has to challenge everything. He will not do anything that he doesn't think has a purpose for him. He doesn't want to play the school game. He doesn't get the rules and he no longer cares if he loses the game. And yet, I know he cares deeply. All stories are real, some of them actually happen, and all these stories happen to me. These stories have informed my teaching practice, that and watching Summer Heights High. And from these stories I have developed the Ismit model. Ismit, I-S, informational skills-based teaching. The flip-top head model. You pour the information that you think that they need to know. Everyone needs to learn skills and find information, but Harrison might call it Googling and YouTubing. Motivational teaching, where the learner gets hold of an idea and takes it to its logical conclusion. We might call that a project. Unfortunately, it often ends up on top of a cupboard along with the learning. It's all the things the teachers make you do using Minecraft. At 7 years old, without prompting, and certainly without an adult, Harrison needed to figure out what 1,000 divided by 400 was so that he knew the power of his diamond sword. He made sure he found out. This is what I would call inspirational teaching. It's when an idea gets a hold of you and takes you to where you were always intended, inspired in spirit. And lastly, transformational teaching, where that idea takes you beyond your imagining. Because my son's stories have happened to me, it's become important that I ask myself where my teaching practice sits on the Ismit model. It seems that we are teaching more and more challenging children, or rather more and more children are challenging the way we teach. We must ask ourselves how much of the learning experiences are authentic for our learners. Whose questions are our learners answering? So back to Harrison. I don't want to glamorise his bad manners, but he is not wrong. In fact, by definition, learners can't be. The same goes for his teachers. But I sort of wish all teachers could live the same story that I have lived through Harrison. The daily grind of dragging your son to school, hearing him wish he was dead rather than spending another day with the worst teacher in the world or the worst teacher in the universe, or picking him up and listening to him cry through another story that has happened to him. All stories are real, some of them actually happened, and these stories happened to me. Maybe if that story happened to other teachers, they might be more inclined and more determined to say it's just fucking national standards, or more inclined to tell someone to move away from the child. Stop teaching, shut up and let him learn. All stories are real. Some of them actually happened. And now some of my story might have happened to you.